So I thought we'd just kind of like, because there isn't that much news going on in the VR space, we would just kind of like talk about our predictions, maybe some like wild things that we would actually want to happen in 2020 for VR. And I've got a couple of questions, and this kind of touches on what Nathan was talking about earlier on as well. So I've got some questions that can sort of spark off the conversation. So first question, feel free to join in the chat, by the way. We'd love to know what you guys think. But do you think there will be a Quest competitor in 2020? And if so, who do you think it'll be from?
Standalone, you mean?
Standalone.
I think it's unlikely, but I would love to see PlayStation come with a rechargeable headset that has been touted by a few people. I think it was Ben from Road to VR mentioned it first, the PSP VR, which is such a cool idea to bring like Resident Evil onto a school bus and just torture children with it. I mean, I would love that.
But is it then really considered to be a Quest competitor because it would just still run off the PlayStation, right?
So it would be standalone, but also be able to connect it to a PlayStation, like the Quest is standalone, also connected.
So it would
to
have
the
its
PC.
own store next to the PlayStation store?
No, I think
Exactly.
So my concept of it would be that's what we were talking about last week. But like if it was standalone on its own and ran like an OS like PSP ran. Because you're entering, like, I would love to see Sony enter the mobile market. They're always quiet about these things. And that's why you're just like this eerie, when you think about the idea and you think about their position in the market and you go, VR's been really good for them. And you look at their consoles in the past and you go, hang on a second, PSP hasn't done badly for them. That could definitely do very well, particularly in Asia, even if it doesn't do well in other markets. Please, Sony, do it. So
yeah, and I think you're right, and that's exactly what I wrote down actually. So you pretty much had a mind meld with me and read my mind. But I think if anyone can step up toe to toe with Oculus with the Quest, I think probably Sony are one of the very few companies out there that could probably pull it off because of their history with PlayStation and making mobile devices like the Vita
and the
software library.
Yeah, and gaming pedigree, you know, making their own stores and stuff like that. They could probably pull something like that off, whereas everyone else in the market seems to be so far behind what Oculus are doing with the Quest that I think it would be difficult for anyone else really to catch up.
And I want
your question was in 2020. Do you think that will happen in 2020?
Well, the next generation...
They've already said that they're going to make the PS5 is coming out, but they've said that there's no PSVR 2.
But it's the perfect intermission while they're appeasing their console market to also launch a mobile. It's like the perfect thing. Like we were just unboxing it here and unwrapping this, but it, like timing wise, it totally makes sense. They could have been working on this the last 2-3 years. Have this come out right timing. You know what I mean? Like what Mike is saying is right. And think about that software library. Even if it wasn't the whole gamut of all the titles, it was just a couple of, like a dozen stripped down titles ready for it on launch. Hot damn.
Yeah, exactly. Especially for developers that have already ported game to a Quest, for example. For Polyarc with Moss, for example, because Moss was a PSVR title as well that did well on PSVR. That, if they've already put that effort into stripping down the game for Quest, and if they made the tools possible for like Quest games to be ported over to this new PSVR standalone headset, then that would be really, really cool. That would put them in a very good position indeed.
Think about like static running on the PSP VR system, for instance, right?
Well, a PlayStation Portable, like a relaunch of that, because I think the last PlayStation Portable didn't do that well.
I remember
the first
the latest
one did. But having like PlayStation Portable and then being it now the VR brand of Sony, that would be great. They're the only ones in the gaming market that seem to be standing out from the rest. It's not Microsoft, it's not it's them. Like everyone knows PlayStation, and I think if they make something VR, it will be known pretty quickly by a lot of people.
I'm gonna have to flash this on screen. So just looking at the Wikipedia page for PlayStation Portable, all of the models have been discontinued at this stage. So there was the PSP 1000, which I owned. I actually bought that. PSP 2000, 3000, PSP Go, and then the PSP Street for the kids.
Yeah. Was there? What about the Vita? Was that like the last one?
That's a separate. I think that's separate to play. I'll look that up now, but I think that was a separate branch.
Okay.
Didn't go under the
Vita. Yeah, I loved that. I loved the Vita console. I thought it was awesome. Yeah, but I think that would be amazing. Like if that was one wish that I had, I think that would be it. For Sony to really step up and be competition, like you say, because without competition in the marketplace, it's not particularly great. for consumers, because competition drives pricing down, it drives innovation, more acquisitions of studios, and sort of it helps sort of the market grow a lot quicker as well. So I think a next gen PSVR that has the ability to go standalone as well as connected to the next gen PS console would be super smart move from them.